Hello, my friends, and welcome to Cathy Chat. I absolutely love to be able to feature and spotlight and support friends that I absolutely meet networking all the time. And today you get to meet a superstar and a superstar times a million. If you have not met Antoyia Fortune yet, she is your neighborhood beauty boss. I am so excited to have you on the call today, my friend.
Oh, thank you for having me, Kathy. I'm honored, honestly. I really am. I am appreciative that you took time to say, I want to know more about this girl, and here I am. So thank you.
Absolutely. And people who get to meet you, networking, the different ladies groups that we have, the different networking events that we've been in together, they meet you and they just go, I want what she has. And it's not just your fabulous makeup and your fabulous earrings, it's just that inner glow thing you've got going on.
Mhm.
Tell us about Antoyia.
What can I tell you about Antoyia? So the inner glow, I can definitely talk about that. I talk heavily about self-confidence and self-worth and knowing it for yourself. My background is in social work. I was a health and mental health advocate.
Oh,
Did
wow.
that for several years, in-home psychiatric care, your community advocate out there in the trenches, truly, in Kansas City. Which shout out to Kansas City. That is where I was born and raised, in Kansas City, Kansas. So that's where my heart is. My heart is to be out in my community and to empower people. So when I got into my business, I was really apprehensive. I'll be honest. I was very apprehensive, very much like, girl, you are crazy. I have no desire to be doing anything dealing with beauty. And I know people are going to be looking at this live and be like, girl, what you mean you don't know nothing about beauty? But I've been in 11 years. So this is a growth. This is a progress. This is a self development. This is I found love for Antoyia. This is what you see now. That's when people come in the room with me and I call it my razzle dazzle. You'll see me sprinkle my fingers. That's really what it is. It's a growth project that, thank goodness, someone was willing to offer me the opportunity. And I was willing to say, I don't know what this girl talking about, and it don't like sound like really something I'm interested in, but I'm willing to do it. So that's really where it comes from. It comes from knowing who I am and knowing whose I am, and walking in that greatness that is within me. So yeah.
How long had you known the person who shared your company with you? How long had you known her?
Oh, I wish she was here to tell you this story. I met her my freshman year of college, so that was in 2004. We literally met at which shout out to the University of Kansas, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. We met at KU at our ice cream social during something we called during Hawk Week. She literally walked up to me and said, "You're going to be friends with me," and I was like, "Oh, she's crazy." I literally was like, okay. And I walked off, and I promise you, like, we didn't become instant friends, but it was a definitely a situation where she was like, no, you're going to be friends with me. I don't know what it is about you, but you're going to be friends with me. And we stuck, we ended up working together on campus. We became sorority sisters. And, it honestly took years before I said yes. I was a loyal customer. I did it because she was my friend. And I was like, all right, I'll use your little products, whatever. But I'll be honest, prior to Mary Kay, which that is my business, plug, plug, I was very sensitive skin. I barely washed my face. Makeup was a hit or miss. But you can always count on me to have my eyebrows arched. And I would probably like wipe my face down with alcohol because that's what my granny told me to do. But besides that, I was not doing any of the routine things that day and night. Oh no, ma'am. You might get me to wipe my face before I go to bed, but that's really about it. And in the morning, all the reason I'm wiping my face is probably because I got toothpaste on it and I'm wiping that off. But otherwise, I'm not doing that. So for her to approach me and say, "Don't you want to be in the beauty business?" I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm used to playing basketball. Now I did dance, I did ballet and jazz in high school and middle school. So I was girly in that. But that really all it was me applying that standard stage red lipstick when it was time for me to get on stage, and that was it. There was nothing else. I would be like, I'm not doing that. It was not my thing at all. And then again, I'm
I
still
am
with her.
shocked to hear that, and I really do mean that.
Yes. People,
When
and
people
honestly,
see you
even people
now,
from
they
college.
instantly think that everything's a 2 or
Oh,
3 hour procedure
absolutely.
to get you, knocked out like this. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. People see me from high school and college, and they're like, who is that girl? Like, that's not who we remember. Like, I was the very much like oversized clothing and baggy clothing. And like I said, eyebrows arch. That's about all you get from me. That's all I had to offer. Like nails. Oh no, ma'am. Like prom, and again for my recitals, okay, that's cute. But after that, they're getting bit off and, and chewed off, and no, we're not. I'm not doing that.
Oh,
Not
all
my
of our friends
family.
in the beauty business that are watching and listening right now, as soon as you said the nails chewed off, they probably just stroked out.
Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah. And then you look again. You see me now, and it's like, wow. Wow. And it's a wow for me too. Like again, for me to think like it's been 11 years I've been in the beauty business. And I'll be honest, let me tell you the truth. The truth of the matter is when I started, again, I was apprehensive and I very much used it as my shoe money. That's what I used it for. It was my shoe budget. So before the pandemic, you could see my whole body. Now you only see me, chest up. So you get these fabulous earrings and head wraps. But before it was like shoes. I love shoes. And that comes from my mama. Shout out to my mama. She is a shoe fanatic and that's just what it is. So it was my shoe budget. And that so I would see shoes and mind you, I used to work at a shoe store as well. So I used to hide shoes during my shift, which that's don't do that. Don't hide shoes to your shift. And I'm a size
Oh
10.
my
So the
gosh.
other part of it is like I knew if I found a cute shoe in a size 10, it was I have to hide it because no, I'm not gonna find it again. So that's what it became. It was my shoe money. It was my where my friends want to go on a vacation. Okay, I'll kick up my business and I'll earn this money. And then I was in a situation, unfortunately, that I lost my jobs. And I did say jobs because Antoyia keeps multiple jobs all the time. I had a full time position and I was laid off. And now, mind you, let me say, I was not happy at that job. I was very unhappy to the point that I was physically becoming ill. But in my mind, it was a job. And I knew on every Friday, y'all would make sure I got a check. And that was what kept me at that job. And so when I got laid off, which the key is that I got laid off. So it wasn't that I wasn't doing my job. It was a situation within the company. So I was like, okay, well, you gave me a package, a nice package. I'll be honest, gave me a nice package. And but I also had a part-time job at the time. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll work out my package, got my part-time job. I got this little business I do every once in a while. Okay, cool. And then 3 months later, I was laid off from that part-time job. And I said, okay, listen, what I can't do is keep getting these shots to my ego. Like, I know I'm good at what I do, and y'all keep letting me go. Like, what is going on? And I had that same friend that introduced me to the business years ago was like, hello, you have a business. And I was like, oh yeah, about that. Okay, okay. And here I am, full time entrepreneur. I do have multiple businesses, but Mary Kay is my main thing. I do these lovely backgrounds that are in the background. So I'm a graphics girl. I am an affiliate for a jewelry company. So I do a lot of things. But all of those things all encompass me empowering others, and that really is my mission. Like Cathy said, when I come into a room, you feel it. And I want you to. I don't want you to, which I recently talked about this. I don't want you to. I walk into a room, and I'll give you an example. I am a 6 foot Black woman who has amazing jewelry. I wear a head wrap turban 98.9% of my day. So I am very much like, oh, she walked into the room. You feel when I walk in the room. And I used to shrink myself. I used to like literally hunch my shoulders. I used to walk in the room and go to a corner because I didn't want people to feel like I was overwhelming or intimidating them. And what I had to learn, which thank goodness for Mary Kay, that's not my problem. And I hope that that helps somebody because that is something that I constantly tell people, don't make that your problem. If people are intimidated by you, that is not something that you did. Now, if you're going with the intent to, I'm going to make sure people know that I'm in the room and rah, rah, rah. Okay, well, yeah, don't do that. But me just simply being who I am and loving who I am, and if that makes you uncomfortable, that's something that you have to work within internally. And that's something that I had to learn that I have no control over that. All I have control over is Antoyia and to love Antoyia for who she is and show up full out. So if I come in with my razzle dazzle and I am loud and I talk with my hands, which I try to do not do that as much when I'm online, like I do it. I am that girl. Like I'm the girl that's gonna have you almost jumping off the wall. Like I am the person. So it's like I learned to love her. And because I learned to love her, I want other people to feel the same way. I want you to walk in the room and be confident of whatever you have to talk about. I don't care if you're talking about Cheerios. Like if that is what you're passionate about and that's your favorite cereal, you know what? Go tell everybody in the room about it. You know? And I mean, quite honestly, I'm in a direct sale company. So unfortunately, we do have a negative connotation. We do. But I will never shy away from me representing my company, because I believe in what I'm doing, and I believe in our products, and I believe in our mission. I believe in our 60-year history. So that's something for me to be comfortable with. It's not my job to try to convince you otherwise. I can just tell you what I know and what I believe. And how you choose to accept it is definitely, it's your prerogative. Now the ball's in your court. So I mean, that's really what it's about for me. I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, me being the neighborhood beauty boss, which people are like, where did that come from? So I can give you that tidbit. So I started my business in Kansas, which again, I suggest where I was born and raised. I moved to Texas months later, which another faith walk. Really because I just didn't want to be in Kansas anymore. It was home, but it wasn't where I saw myself living. Like that's not where I saw my future. It was like I'll visit home, but that's not where my home will be. That's not where I'll establish myself. So when I moved here, a lot of my customers that I had established were like, okay, so what are we going to do? And I was like, oh, you're still going to be my customer. Like, just because I move, I can still service you. So having them understand that regardless of what neighborhood I was in, I can serve you from my neighborhood to yours. So that's really where the neighborhood part came from. And me being a boss, I mean, again, I walk in and you're like, oh yeah, she's together. She's a boss. And I had to, and I will give out Lily Singh is the person that created the BAWSE version of boss. And it really is, for me, I resonated with, I'm a boss in the fact that I handle my business and I am about my business. However, I don't want the connotation that we have about being a boss. And it's like, oh, it can be a nasty word. Like, that's just what it is. So I was like, I still want y'all to feel like, oh no, she's handling her business, but she's doing it in a different way. So that's the birth of Neighborhood Beauty Boss. So that's me in a nutshell. It's crazy. Like, I think about my journey. It gives me chills to think about, because I know the woman I was when I started, and now looking back years later, I'm thankful for the growth she's had. I'm thankful for being laid off from those jobs. In the moment I wasn't happy, but it really was a moment. It was a pivotal moment in my business where I didn't have a choice but to work, because I really wasn't the point. I'm like, I am not putting in another application. I refuse. Like, I no, you will not tell me that. Yeah, you're good at your job, but we're gonna still let you go. No, ma'am, I'm not doing that. So I mean, I was in a situation where I didn't have a choice. I still wanted my lights to be on when I flipped the switch. I don't want. I mean, candlelight dinner is cute, like, when in those moments, it's not because I have to. So I had no choice but to say, okay, let's pivot and let's make a decision to say this is what it's going to be, and here we are. So I'm excited. I'm excited about what is to come. Absolutely.
There are so many nuggets, and I know that probably everyone says that about you. I'm instantly thinking in terms of hashtag razzle dazzle, because that is definitely you. And the fact that you sprinkle as you walk in a room, I know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And so hashtag razzle dazzle is really the Antoyia um, message or logo in my brain. The
Mm-hmm.
rest of the story is you had a journey, okay? But in Mary Kay, it's all about faith and family and business.
Yep.
So how do you take your journey and inspire your customers, certainly, or especially your team?
Mm-hmm.
Because when people see you, I want that. And
Right.
it's not just all of your dynamic accessories or even your fabulous shoes. I want that. So how did you go from Antoya wiping your face down with alcohol, for heaven's sakes, to now? What kept you moving?
It definitely was faith. Like, the reason this business works for me is because it aligns with my personal beliefs. So that's something that was major for me. I didn't want to, even though I've been approached by multiple businesses, but no other business really resonated with my personal beliefs. And that I felt like, now you weren't just saying it, you were actually walking and believing in what it was. I mean, even though, like I said, though losing my jobs were hit to my ego, but it still was a moment of thank you, God, because if I had not had my faith, where would I go? If I had not had my family, I literally called my dad and he was like, okay, so what are we going to do? So what's our next step? If I didn't have those things in place, I can't imagine how I would have reacted, to losing my job and then losing another job 3 months later. And then, like, literally being like, okay, I have technically no income coming in. So what's next? What are my options? I mean, yeah, you get unemployment, but let's be honest, that's like a quarter of what you're even used to getting. And they want to tax that too. So, it's like, what am I going to do? So it really was a test of my faith. It was a test to say, okay, how are you going to use this moment to give me glory? And I'm a walking testimony. I can go back to the day I was born. Like, I'm a walking testimony, and my parents will tell you the same. I have the sass to live. I've had sass since the day I was born. That's just what it is. So, I mean, those things have definitely helped me transition. But also with the Mary Kay world of things, I also have developed a family within my business. Like I said, I started my business in Kansas, and a few months later, I moved here. And so, in short, I've been quote unquote by myself within my business for years now. Now, thank goodness Mary Kay has, programs in place for me to connect with my sisters that are here. And because I probably, who knows where I would have been if I had to depend on myself, washing my face with alcohol and the other night washing it with Mary Kay. Who knows what my skin would look like. But I had people here that were able to pour into me and shape me and say, no, this is how you do this and this is how you run a business. So these are things that were in place that have helped me develop who I am. And as far as my customers, one thing I would do, if you ever had a facial with me, at the end of the facial, I always ask you to look in the mirror and tell yourself something of importance. If it's I am worthy, if it's I am power, if it's I am beautiful. Because a lot of times we as women don't accept, nor do we know how to give compliments. It's so many times that people are like, oh my God, I love your earrings. And you're like, oh, well, this one's broken. Oh, well, it's old. Or, oh, this is, oh, well, I did. Just say thank you. So at the end of my time, if it's a group, I will tell them, okay, everybody go around and compliment them on their look, their style, their day, whatever you want to compliment them on. And you only have two responses with me. You can only say thank you or I know, right? Those are your only responses. And most of them are like, I know, right? And I'm like, you gotta have some sass with it. I know, right? Like if you tell me, girl, your head wrap is cute, and I know, right? Like you gotta have it because unfortunately, if you are coming from a place of brokenness or unworthiness, you don't know how to accept that someone has just given you love. So I take it on to say, you know what, in these moments, just give me 2 seconds to empower you. And that's what it's become. That's what it's about. It's so much more than just me just telling you about skincare and me telling you makeup. Like it's not about selling product. I mean, yeah, I run a business, I want to make money. But my core thing is empowering people and making sure they know that you can live a life of faith, family, and career. Now, granted, as Mary Kay would say, your career has to be third, not 33rd. So you can't expect the career just going to flourish because, you're praying about it. Faith without work is dead. So you have to do some work along with that faith. So that's how I do it. That's something that I am big on, making sure you understand your worth and continuing to pour into yourself, speaking life over yourself, because the power definitely is of life and death is in your tongue. Yeah.
A lot of people watching with us, or certainly listening on the podcast piece, are probably wondering, how do you grow a business online when it has to do with touching skin and facials? How do you do that? And it sounds like you've been incredibly successful with folks that you've actually never met in person.
hmm So thank goodness for Mary Kay corporate. They have helped us navigate a lot. When this pandemic happened, I can tell you exactly where I was when they said we were going to shut down for 2 weeks, allegedly. Because we had a meeting that night and we told them, okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks. We got to shut down all that greatness. And then that 2 weeks turned into a month. And then that month can, and here we are at, I believe what we believe is the endemic. We don't really know, in 2024. And these things happened in 2020. So they really helped us navigate how to hop on virtually and explain, okay, if I send you a sample, if I send you a full set, let me get on Zoom or let me get on StreamYard, or let me get on any virtual connection with you, if it's FaceTime, whatever it is, and I can connect with you and express, okay, this is step one. This is step two. This is step three. Because at the end of the day, whether you're in person or virtual with me, I am still your consultant and I'm there to consult you on what your next best steps are, whatever the concern is. So that's how I navigate it. I mean, I'm always a phone call, text, Vox, however you so choose to reach out to me, Facebook, I'm available. And that's something that I will say a lot of my customers pride me on, which I appreciate. They're like, Toya, make sure I understand how to use my product and that I am comfortable with using it because I do it because I know how I was. I was calling my girl like, okay, what's step one? Because Okay, cleanse. Now, what about all these other stuff? What's next? And so I make sure people understand it. You know, that's important to me. So yeah, what
Wow.
about you?
I am so thrilled, honestly, to have you on Kathy Chat for sure.
Yes,
And I wish that these could last for hours and hours, but obviously YouTube or Facebook or StreamYard or somebody would shut us down. What
absolutely.
message would you like to leave today with friends who are watching, listening, or maybe meeting Antoyia Fortune for the first time?
Oh, one message. Mm. I would tell you to be yourself's biggest cheerleader. Believe in yourself and believe beyond what the world is telling you. Be your biggest cheerleader.
When your person did that facial, did she have you look in the mirror and say how fabulous you are?
She did. She did.
Is
And I'll
that a
be
Mary
honest.
is that a Mary Kay technique or within
It's
your own team?
it's within our own team. Other people have adopted it, and I will tell y'all this. To be honest, it was very hard for me to look in the mirror and tell myself that I was beautiful years ago. Now it's like, oh no, I know. And I have to be careful because some people take it as like they take it as cockiness. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like this is something I've had to like dig deep for and like really prosper and just like I was it was almost like I was in the field with you know with all my gardening tools like really digging for this. Now it's like automatically, oh yeah, I'm worth it. Absolutely I'm worth it. You know, I wouldn't have this business and I wouldn't have these opportunities if I wasn't worth it. I wouldn't, my hands wouldn't be open to receive it. I would be walking around, you know, closed, not ready to receive it. Now, no, please pour it out. What can I take? What can I have? What's next? Yeah,
Wow. I really am so excited and honored, honestly, to have you because you know what? When you said when you walk in a room, you do that razzle dazzle sprinkle thing, I'm telling you what, my friend, it works online too.
mm-hmm.
It really seriously does. When people say you can't grow a business online, you can't do this virtually, you can't do that virtually. And I always think, well, tell me about that because maybe their experience is different. But it has definitely rocked my world to expand my network globally, thanks to
Absolutely.
Zoom, thanks to virtual, thanks to StreamYard, thanks to all these things we get to do. And I mean that with all my heart. I would not have known you
It's
if
true.
it was not for online networking. So I
That's
am
true.
thrilled out of my mind to have you on Kathy Chat.
Yes, thank you for having me, Cathy. I really am honored. I really am.
What is the best way for our friends to reach you?
They can definitely reach me at bit.ly, bit.ly/ neighborhood beauty boss. And that boss is BAWSE. Or you can always search for Antoyia Fortune, ANTOYIAFORTUNE. And yes, that is Fortune, like Wheel of Fortune or Fortune Cookie. Absolutely.
I love that so much. Thank you again for joining me today. My
Absolutely.
friends,
Thank you.
if you have not met Antoya Fortune yet, your neighborhood beauty boss, it is time. And it is time. And it is really time to reach out to this superstar. She will empower you in ways you never knew possible, not only because of her Mary Kay business, but because of her heart. So, Antoya, thank you again for being on Cafe.
Thank you.
Bye for now, my friends.